My name is Jacob Edgar. I'm an explorer, but I don't search for lost cities or ancient ruins. I'm on the quest for a different kind of treasure, music. As an ethnomusicologist and world music record producer, I travel the globe hunting for the best songs the world has to offer. And I suffer through some of the worst, so you don't have to. I've got a backstage pass to the world's music, and I won't stop until I've heard it all. It's hard to imagine a world, much less a beach party, without the infectious and eerie grooves of reggae music. Its offbeat shuffle and pulsing bass lines have become an essential and savory ingredient in the planet's rich musical stew. Bob Marley's success brought reggae into smoky dorm rooms in the 1970s, but reggae has many musical predecessors, and its roots extend back hundreds of years and thousands of miles to Africa. As I explore the Jamaican music scene, I wonder what, if anything, still exists of the music and artists that were around before Bob Marley and the reggae explosion. What styles were blasting out of neighborhood radios and nightclubs when Bob Marley was just a kid causing trouble in the streets of Trenchtown? Tell me how much you care. As is the case across the Caribbean, Jamaican music reflects a blend of African and European influences. The slaves who arrived on the island starting in the 1600s brought nothing with them but their culture, including their rich music and dance heritage. Africa is renowned for its complex drumming, and this sense of rhythm has been a fundamental element of Jamaican music for hundreds of years. The Akwaaba drummers are experts in Kumina and Nyabingi music. Nyabingi drumming is a pretty recent invention. It was developed by Rastafarians in the 20th century who were seeking to create an African-inspired sacred music for their religious ceremonies. But Kumina has a pure African lineage.
My name is Osai Mwese Osagburo. I am a teacher, but I'm a drummer as well. What you heard was Kumina, the drumming, an aspect of Kumina. Originally, it is said that Kumina came with enslaved people from West Africa. And what you heard also, the singing, was just one of those songs. It's repetitive, as you heard. A song like that will be sung in a Kumina ritual that is praise and probably giving praise to someone who has been born.
Has Kumina played a role in contemporary Jamaican music in any
Yes,
way?
it has. The bass rhythm that you hear has gone on to influence the bass in reggae, has gone on to influence the bass in Rastafari music. There are several dances too. A lot of the dances that the contemporary DJs have created, these dances have Kumina moves. The movement of the feet, the movement of the body, the twisting of the head from one side to the next, all that is Kumina. And if the call and response that you hear, the DJs engaging with the audience, saying something and having the audience respond, that is also a trait of Kumina as well.
As the sounds of the drums fill the air in the beautiful Boone Hall Oasis, a botanical garden in the hills above Kingston, I can hear the echoes of ancient Africa ringing out.
Yes, I. Say Ashe. Ashe.
I read somewhere that when he was a little boy, Bob Marley used to impress his family by singing the classic Mento song, Don't Touch Me Tomato. It goes like this. Hey, mister, don't you touch me tomato. Don't you touch me tomato. Touch me and me pumpkin potato. But goodness sake, don't touch me tomato. All right, it's clear I'm not destined to be a global reggae star, but you get the idea. Mento is a Jamaican folk style that was popular in the first half of the 20th century. And like its cousin, Trinidadian calypso, it has catchy melodies and lyrics filled with social commentary and raunchy double entendres. Authentic Mento is pretty hard to find today, but I've been told that there's a group in Negril that continues to write new songs in the Mento style. Well, I'll take any excuse for a road trip.
Balance it deep.
So I hop on the bus and I head west from Kingston, along the southern coast to Negril.
Oh yeah, when you see your chariot rolling, strolling, shall be on that ride.
Ron Burke is my travel companion on this quest for Jamaica's musical roots. He was one of the founders of the legendary music festival Reggae Sunsplash, and he's a living encyclopedia of Jamaican music and culture.
You were telling me that Marley, back home in Jamaica at the time, Marley was not nearly as popular or respected as he was in the rest of the world.
One of the crowd.
It's interesting.
In fact, I think Bob gave up on reggae music and went to America and became a welder.
Can you imagine if that history had actually happened and Bob Marley had become like
working on the
welder?
night shift refers to his factory work.
Oh, right.
When you see your chariot.
Like me, Ron loves street food. And every once in a while, we stop for some local roadside delicacies.
Wait, what's it called?
Guinnep, G-U-I-N-E-P.
Guinnep.
Guinnep.
I've never even heard of a guinnep. Oh, this is like a lychee kind of sort of. Don't eat the seed. Thanks for telling me. You have to eat like hundreds of these in order to get any actual fruit flavor. Oh yeah, we definitely want some cashews.
Was already stood.
Over his many years in the industry, Ron has seen it all. And he entertains me with stories about his adventures in the music business.
So Peter Tosh was one of the original
One of the
Wailers.
original, Peter, Bunny, and Bob.
Peter Tosh, Bunny
Bunny
Wailer,
Wailer and Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. But Peter Tosh went on to have a pretty successful career
Oh, he did.
of his own, just as his own, under his own
He did,
name.
you know, and he was a very colorful character.
Yeah.
He's a guy that, in talking and dealing with him, you have to be right on point, but Peter just didn't have any tolerance for anything that was considered a waste of time.
He didn't suffer fools.
Not at all.
Like stick together. Down in Jamaica, St. Mary, close to Portland. The village I'm in love, so anywhere me go, me come back to see my community, brethren and friends, and my family. It's a part of my life, when me navigate.
The Peter Tosh Memorial is along the route to Negril. Tosh was one of the original Wailers and a huge star in his own right. Outside of the colorful mausoleum, which is in the yard of Tosh's childhood home and where his mother still lives, one of Tosh's cousins is selling CDs by the reggae icon.
Stop one like say you never know.
Tosh was murdered in 1987 in a brutal shooting. Ron knew Tosh personally, and he tells me more about the life and legacy of this controversial reggae icon.
Well, he was one of the really strong songwriters, you know, and a super performer, but his character, he was one of those very unbending, unapologetic Rastaman.
Right, he had strong
Fought
opinions.
the system to the maximum.
Right.
And no amount of police beatings or brutality could shut his mouth. He just never changed. He was a most militant man, you know, but likable, you know, with a keen sense of humor.
Well,
Really a likable guy, you know, and
well, we always have his
really
music.
the cutting edge of militancy there.
After a wonderful journey past lush green mountains and stunning beaches, we meet up with Gilzine and the Blue Light Mento Band by the Negril Lighthouse to hear their take on the traditional Mento sound.
Yeah, this morning as I woke up in misery. Then I was sitting by the riverside. Then I feel someone touch me on my shoulder. I said, darling, I know something wrong. And she was crying. I say, baby, stop your crying. Stop your crying, and dry up your tears. And she was crying, and she was crying, and she was crying. I say, baby, stop your crying and dry up your tears.
The group uses the classic Mento instrumentation of guitar, banjo, maracas, and rumba box.
What makes up a typical Mento song? I mean, I know some of them were kind of risque and had double entendres and lyrics that were about sort of things that you wouldn't really say, but you would sort of say them in the lyrics. Is that true?
You had a song, a Mento song about, it would say like, sailor man trying to hold on a girl, never stop until him take off her clothes, you know? So,
That's not very around. That's pretty straight to the point there.
As I woke up in misery. Then I was sitting by the riverside.
Now you're playing the rumba box, and that kind of looks almost like an African instrument in some ways.
In Africa they say it's kalimba.
Kalimba, but they're usually smaller, right?
Yeah, this is the big kalimba.
Interesting. You mind if can you show me how to play it?
Of course.
Yeah? Let me take a track.
Come on.
All right, first lesson.
Yes.
Don't fall over. Okay, that's easy enough.
It's not as easy as it looks. This rumba box requires some serious coordination. I thought all those video games I played as a kid would pay off, but clearly they were just a big waste of time. Who knew?
All right, I think it's going to be a while before I become a Mento musician, but I am going to practice. If I do this for a long time, no, rub my belly. Thank you. Now, don't tell anybody, okay? This is just our little secret. Our little secret.
In the late 1950s, a musical revolution took place in Jamaica with the development of ska. A fast, upbeat dance style that's had a deep impact on the world's music. There's no one who can tell the story of ska better than Ernest Ranglin, a legendary guitarist and composer who claims to have been in the room the day ska was invented. We meet at the legendary Harry J Studios in Kingston, where many of Bob Marley's greatest albums were recorded, and he gives me a rundown of Jamaican music history.
You played a pretty instrumental role in the development of ska. Can you tell me about that?
Well, we wanted to put a different emphasis now on the beat. So we decided, instead of you start the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yes, yeah.
So going like that, you say, well, it's really on the first beat then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, you know?
Okay.
But we decided, so we'll do it in a different way, not like 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the emphasis is really on the second
on
and the fourth beat.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how our thing came in.
So it was a Sunday in 1958 that this happened.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing that you can trace it to that moment.
I have a feeling some might have an alternate theory behind the development of ska, but man, it's a pretty cool story.
So we're entering Harry J Studios now. Here we have Stephen Stewart. He's the producer and engineer here at the legendary Harry J Studios. What was it like working with Bob Marley in a recording studio environment?
Well, you know, the thing is Bob Marley and the Wailers, because that's the song. Yes, Bob Marley, great singer. Yes, Bob Marley, great songwriter. But then the sound of the musicians, the Wailers, with him. But they were very serious, very meticulous about their sound, you know. Credit again to the engineer Sylvan Morris, because these recordings today sound like they were just recorded yesterday.
Among the many items they have on the wall here is a platinum record for Rastaman Vibration, the Bob Marley and the Wailers album that was recorded right here, along with Natty Dread and many other classic Bob Marley records. So this is hallowed ground. Who do we have here?
Hey guys!
We've got an all-star crew. Well, we've got an incredible lineup here. Some of the most amazing musicians.
Joining Ernest Ranglin in the studio are none other than Sly Dunbar of Sly and Robbie fame, Daniel Axeman Thompson on bass, Lloyd Obed Denton on keyboard, and Uzziah Sticky Thompson, who's played percussion on thousands of sessions for practically every famous figure in Jamaican music history.
When we were talking outside, you were telling me how the ska rhythm got started.
Right.
Maybe you can demonstrate for us what is ska and what it sounds like. I like that typical ska ending. So then after ska came Rocksteady, and what really was the difference musically there? What was going on?
This was much faster. It would be now a little slow. What would it be?
Well, now to my ears, as a novice, Rocksteady sounds a lot like reggae, but what's the difference? I mean, what is it in terms of what you play on the drums?
Just slightly faster.
Right, but it has kind of a different beat on the drums and the bass line slightly different
Yes,
as well.
it depends on the feel of the tempo.
Wow, I've been schooled on Jamaican music by a group of living legends. I can die now. Marcia Griffiths is another iconic artist who served as a bridge between ska, rocksteady, and reggae. Marcia, along with Rita Marley and Judy Mowatt, was a member of the I-Threes, Bob Marley's backup singers, during the height of his fame. And after Marley died, her success continued. Many people don't realize that she was the voice on the song The Electric Boogie, the worldwide hit that led to the dance The Electric Slide. Weddings haven't been the same since. Since the local youth hostel was all booked up, I've been forced to stay at the picturesque Strawberry Hill Resort, which lies at the top of the Blue Mountains overlooking Jamaica. It's well worth the gut-wrenching drive up winding mountain roads to get there. Bob Marley recovered from a gunshot wound he received in 1976 in this tranquil setting. And with a view like this, it's easy to believe the place has healing powers. The resort is co-owned by Chris Blackwell, the founder of Island Records and the man who made a household name out of Bob Marley, U2, Grace Jones, and countless other musicians over the years.
He brought two different worlds of music. And you imagine like Mick Jagger linking up with Peter Tosh and Bob Marley, and then bringing Studio One up here and then just playing music. And he kept doing it with different artists over the years. So I think that's what's special. And when people come up here, they're very creative. It's a magical place. You got to be here to appreciate it. There are many other spots like it in the world, but this little spot, this is the one I know.
The resort is a bit of a music museum, as photos of the many famous musicians and gold records Blackwell was responsible for line the walls. Okay, dude, I'm starting to get a little jealous. It's no fair hoarding all the gold records. It seemed like an apt place to invite Marcia Griffiths to come perform, as it was also a special location in her own life. We cozy up in the lounge and I ask her to play the song Back in the Days, which musically bridges mento and rock steady, and its lyrics name drop dozens of pivotal figures in the 60s Jamaican music scene.
The beauty and splendor is what I remember when I'm thinking of back in those days. We played volleyball and climbed waterfalls and watched the sunset end of the day. At night we would listen to the #1 song and dance the night away. Kingston used to mash it, U-Raw used to rock it, Big Youth used to flash it, Brigadier Jerry used to cock it, and everyone feeling irate.
And I don't think a lot of people would know that you've had hits long before you started working with Bob Marley, and you've had some pretty spectacular hits since that period as well.
That's very, very true, because even right now with the song The Electric Slide, 90% of the people who know that song believe it's someone from overseas. They would never imagine that it's a Jamaican. Al Capone used to mash it, a Tippertone used to rock it, Dennis Brown was inseparable, and everyone feeling irate. Count Majuki used to mash it, a Jimmy Cliff always a rocket, a Millie Small, the lollipop girl, and everyone feeling irate.
When Bob asked you to take the I3s and become a part of this group, did you have any doubts about doing it, or was it something you felt positive about right from the beginning?
I was very positive. When I saw how serious this man took his music, I said, wow, this is a responsibility. You know, whatever you're delivering to the world, it has to be something positive to teach, educate, and uplift. I usually say I'm glad I gave him flowers while he was alive. I just knew that this was a special man sent by Almighty God. So I was very pleased, very honored to work with Bob.
If David was here, what would he say?
Out in the street, they call it murder. Welcome to Jamdong. Welcome to Jamdong. Poor people dead and run down. Political violence can't done.
If you had to summarize for somebody what your place in Jamaican music history is, how would you explain that to somebody who came from Mars, you know, and didn't know already?
To hear every single female in the business giving praise to me, saying that I have been their inspiration, their role model, and their everything. I mean, it means more than money. No money in the world could purchase anything like that. It touches my soul, and I'm so happy to know that my work was not in vain.
Dynamite selection each and every time, yeah.
I feel like I've been traveling on a time machine, zipping back to ancient Africa, up through the mento, ska, and rocksteady eras. But it's time to stop living in the past and turn my attention to the sounds that are currently dominating the Jamaican music scene. Until now, most of what I heard has been pretty laid back. But it's time to get up, stand up, and dive into the aggressive beats, hard-hitting lyrics, and explosive energy of Jamaican dancehall. I have a feeling my Jamaican getaway is going to take a radically different turn.
Me see rivers roll out and I do this wagga swagga. Brag around the corner with a gal at wagga wagga. From them say dancing style we have a bagga. We a dance from we a tiny hot like Spragga. Everybody a dance including Obama. Even the first lady Michelle in baby mama. Peace time put down the cane no Osama. Sweep the rubbish up in a corner no more drama. Dance! Everybody dance and sweep them with. No one see no pagans.